Ohio Company Towns back here at Erie. I come down here to make another video and I see an earth mover down here. Of course, there's nothing going on other than it does look like there has been a subtraction over here of some of that hill of dirt that has been here for quite a long time. As far as I can tell, I don't know if there's a plan. They could go straight in line with those poles right there, that there might be a plan to do something, unite it some way, somehow in through here, and they're just clearing that off or what. But it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they find beneath it. We'll see, but you know what they say, it's things continue on. But that's not the point of being out here, although I think that maybe this little series might end up being timely, because when stuff like this starts to happen, who knows what's next. This is actually an Ohio Company Towns Q&A, but it's now been hijacked by recent developments. So, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna walk down here to the lair and ask a bunch of or answer a bunch of questions. Alright, because I promote this video far and wide, I sometimes actually get some engagement, but oddly enough, hardly ever on YouTube. Don't know why that is, probably because I'm such a small channel that it doesn't really make a difference. I can't get anywhere. It's hard to get somewhere when you can't get somewhere, you know what I mean? But now, well, now isn't this something? And there's some tire marks, of course, going up there. I'm sure you've deduced that. Don't need me to tell you about that. But thought there may have been an addition of something there that does not appear to be the case. Probably just somebody that came up here to hang out. Maybe you've seen one of my videos. I don't know. I doubt it's a fan. But anyway. Okay, so Ohio Company Towns. What's going on? That's me. This is going to be the video. It's going to be a two for today. Probably more than likely, depending upon how much I drink. No, I'm kidding. I'm not drinking today, I don't think. But, it is a early day today. What is today's date, by the way? I think it's the 21st. Yes, it is about 4:46 p.m. and April 21st, 2026 here. And we are here. Okay. So, a couple of things. Who is Ohio Company Towns? Well, that doesn't really matter as much as people have this kind of almost like the band Tool type of philosophy when they're touring. That like Maynard, stands back there by the drummer and kind of only comes out in between songs to occasionally to take a bow, and then that's about it. Well, that's kind of like how I try to run this channel and some other endeavors that I have going on. A bit, I wouldn't say impersonal, but it's more about the message, more about the information, more about whatever, something like that, than anything to do with me. I will speak in generalities though, because that doesn't matter. And it's stuff I've talked about before. I am a father. I love my little kid. I have I'm middle-aged, in my 40s. Most people will know who I am immediately, of course, if they know me. But I work out. I read a lot. I have a little business called Moonville Mushrooms that you can go check out, where I grow gourmet mushrooms at my house. So I have stuff like that. Between that and working, being a father, working, having a few, reading, working out, a few things like that. Hell, my life is pretty much full. Come home and have some downtime, and that's pretty well it to a large degree, I guess you could say, by and large. I do this and some other stuff, of course, but yeah. So that's me. Nothing surprising, I suppose, you know. So, am I an alcoholic? Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. But no, I'm not. I like to make a lot of jokes about drinking, but the fact is I never drink too much. That stuff's expensive, man. I can't afford it. No, I'm kidding. But no, I don't know. The little jokes are just jokes. On that instance, anyway. About that thing. Probably. However, if you wanted to bring me a bottle of booze, I certainly wouldn't turn it down. I'm not rude. Anyway, so let me think. Oh yeah, here's one that a lot of people would wonder about, because you see something that you're interested in superficially, but or maybe even fairly interested in, and all that, and then you're like, well, how would you even go about starting to do it? Or how did I go about starting to do it, since I'm here in the sticks with you? Some of you know I've been here forever, so what's going on with that? Well, I have basically what ended up happening was I just through a confluence of events of which I had damn near nothing to do with. I just picked up a lot of knowledge. My grandfather was a railroader. There's a Railroad Historical Society still in town. He was like the president of for decades. He loved it. He remembered everything, knew everything about it. And man, it's times like this you'd like to be able to sit down and have a nice long conversation about those things. Now, you listen, but hell, you can only hear, remember so much and retain so much and all that other stuff. But now, he was a true railroader. He knew places that are now supposedly totally unknown. The locations of things are unknown. He showed me, but it's been so long it's been redeveloped. Many of these places have been redeveloped now that I couldn't take you out there again if if you held a gun to my head, unfortunately. He had some real old information because he was a real old man. And of course, if you're talking about history in this area, the railroad is as tied to it as man is to woman. It's just literally the lifeblood, the artery that allowed this place to even start to begin with, because that was the only way of getting down here and getting out. It was basically effectively by train. They always used to say that people didn't move beyond about 12 miles in their entire life away from their house, from where they were born, and before the advent of, like cars or something like that, most people never did. Well, just imagine being stuck down here. You wouldn't want to just take off on a nice little sojourn if you didn't have to, with what was rolling around down here, at the time. So, yeah. But, so, he had a bunch of railroad information, so I had kind of a background in that I knew some stuff about, understood some stuff. I'm a history nut, so I understood some stuff from that, picked up some stuff. Websites kind of like Ohio Ghost Town Exploration. That's when they actually set me on here to Erie. I knew about this place because I lived down the street many years ago. I knew about it. No one knew the name, but I had forgotten about the place. And then when it mentioned, I was like, "Well, wait a minute." He had an odd description of how to get here, kind of. Well, I was like, "Wait a minute, I know what he's talking about." And so it kind of dropped me back here. That's why I'm here and I'm able to do so much here, is because it's right in town with me. Yeah. It was platted. There's various other things. So I've done a lot of research, but I also came into it with a background, in odd ways. I'll tell you another one. Now, this is strange because of how things are and stuff. But anymore, you don't really don't have this opportunity. So, of course, like I said, my grandparents were old. My grandparents were old. And everything, born in the 20s, and it had roots way, back into here. You know how it is, what the deal is. So, my grandmother lived in a spot and her father donated the land to a state wildlife preserve when he died off. I went out there one time, because my father took me out there, okay? And he said, well, this is the old home place, right? Okay, so went out there, messed around, and and everything, kind of got a lay of the land, came back, started talking with her, and she started asking questions about how the place looked and what was going on and blah, blah, blah. So she told me about, that where she lived, where she grew up and stuff like that, where her dad had been for a while and everything. And then there were some other aspects to the place about other people that lived down the street, as it were, and all this other stuff in relation to, I believe it was Madison Furnace at the time, was where everybody kind of walked to for work, I guess, where a lot of people did. And but she told me a lot about the place. Well, so I went back out there and I started noticing things, because now once you walked over to this one spot and you could tell clearly it was cleared for human habitation because it's squared. And it's very obviously still squared. There hasn't been anybody there, according to her, in that spot for probably 80 years. I haven't been out there in a few years, but I imagine that it's not like it's just grown up with trees all of a sudden after 80 years in the last 5, or 3, however long it's been since I've been out there and really explored. But I went out there and looked, and I was like, well, this is, I know this is the old guy lived here, and of course it's squared obviously here for human habitation, and then another place down the way on the other side of the road where they were, and all this, all this stuff. So I got back in there messing around, started seeing things, started noticing things, because I knew that something was back there. Okay, so that really sped my understanding up quite a bit, just by being able to go out there and know that I'm not fooling myself. I'm not out here bullshitting myself saying, oh, I want to see something to make it happen. I know what's going on here well enough to know not to make a complete moron of myself. You know what I'm saying? So I would go back, report to her, she'd say stuff, so I figured I got a pretty good understanding of things. Well, okay, so it just keeps on going. You just learn things. So as it turns out, here we are. So I'm kind of nimble amongst a lot of stuff that would help with something like this, and I have personal background in it, and in some ways, and it also can confirm things for me that leads me to believe that I'm going to be right more often than I'm wrong if I think I see something, or I notice something, or something to that effect. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it is. I've often thought about going, especially, I'll probably do it here this summer. I might even do it this weekend. Hell, I don't know. But I'm thinking about putting on almost like a little seminar, and just going out there to my grandmother's old home place, and basically just kind of taking a little tour down. It's a public area. No one can say anything to you or anything. It's not, it's not like, we're trespassing or anything. But it's like a public area. I might go set that up somehow and get a few people down there and say, hey, here's what this looks like, da-da-da-da-da. Because there's some interesting stuff back here I'd like to be able to kind of quote-unquote discover myself. But like for example, right here. This is where it's at. It's getting shaggy, so it's going to be kind of hard to, and then of course the limitations of camera. But hold on a second here. Whoops. Okay. Now, that right there, where that log currently is was a major road in Erie. I've walked down it. And there's the metal shop, whatever it was. A little bit later, a few years after the peak. But that's a road. You can see where there's been some kind of a tired, what do you want to call, wheeled vehicle of some sort has broke it up. It's been a long time ago. And you can tell that by the clumping matting of the grass that's overtaken that area. That's not fresh. It's been there for a while, and but you can't hide the marks. Once you see them, yeah, you know them, and you have to confirm them, but you just see it. You understand. There's a path down that way too. Looks like a break in the trees. And well, it's not straight. No, it's not straight to you. And also, it doesn't matter at the time. These people were, they didn't care. They just wanted, maybe they made that path through because that was where the smallest trees were to save them some effort. So it's a little bit crooked because it was the easiest way to get through instead of having to, try to deal with much larger trees 5 feet over on each side. You just never know what the logic was. But you can trust the tracks. You can trust stuff like that. Another thing, I'm an ancient Rome. Like I said, I like history. Love ancient Rome. Found out that ancient Rome has more or less directly responsible for the size of our cars today by virtue of the size of their wagons and how they did their roads, and then how other people, including in England and other places, would often reuse those paths for centuries or thousands of years afterwards, and would had to keep their vehicle in that range to reliably be able to use it. The roads and stuff like that had to be kept with the vehicles, whatever you want to call them, carts of the age would have to be within a certain parameters, so to speak, in order for you to be able to be useful in these roads from the Roman times. So when you're out somewhere, now you say, what the hell has it got to do with anything around Jackson, Ohio? Well, when you're out somewhere and you think, man, that's strange, because it looks like right through there it's like a perfect sized path. You could get there with a broom. It probably was. It probably was. Because it would have been, everything back then would have been very similar size to what you'd be seeing now on a one-lane road. Now, so, of course, you had narrower and wider depending upon the effort or whatever, have the available room maybe on certain things, but generally once you know some stuff like that, you start being able to see this stuff. You go, wait a minute, that's weird that there's two trees that look like that at that distance from each other and there's nothing in between them right there. Looks like it, well, boom. Another good time is during snow. Okay. The snow is a wonderful illuminator of things, believe it or not. You wouldn't think so, because you'd be, wouldn't it cover up a bunch of stuff? Yeah, it does cover up a bunch of stuff. But it also makes some things more obvious. Like, you can go out to all kinds of places and, around here, these old former company town areas that are now state parks or whatever, county parks, whatever. And you can go out there and during a snow and see roads that you wouldn't see because at any other time of the year it just blends in. But for some reason, whenever it snows out there, you can start to go, wait a minute, right there's a fork and that's clearly going up that way, and then you can see that it's an unbroken stretch and pretty straight, fairly straight anyway, and everything. You start to see things, and not in a way that's going to require that you go get medication. I'm talking about, like you start to notice stuff, and so you start to see the stuff in the land. It's and you notice things, and so those are a couple of ways that you could go out and find some stuff. I'm really thinking about that idea about setting that stuff up with a group of people. I could get like a group of people off of the groups or something like that, then meet them down there and they give kind of like a little tour of the place. Because the thing is the future of the channel here, and I'm going to continue to go around the places. Probably going to hit this place a lot harder, obviously, because I'm right here. But I'm going to continue to go around the places and stuff. Maybe post some kind of other odd content or something on here. But what is the final goal of Ohio Company Towns? As I round into 19 minutes here, or almost 20. Excuse me. What is the ultimate goal of Ohio Company Town? So, what I want to do is, and part of the reason why I make these videos and put them out, put a little bit of effort into local sharing, let's say, that makes sense to me that I'm aware of. Part of the reason is because there are things around here that are not known, and things around here that are not named. There are a lot of company towns around here that was either not named or their names do not exist in this day as far as being known. So if they ever had a name, it's all gone. There's nothing left behind. That it's like Moonville if it wasn't for the tunnel. The Ingham Station had a name. King's Tunnel had a name. The King's Hollow has a name. Moonville did not. The only reason they know about Moonville's name is because of the tunnel, for example. All right. Well, there are places, there are camps, there are company towns that are all through Jackson County and are still there, are still very visible in a lot of ways because no one's been out to mess with them. And I'd like to go out to one of these unfound places where you could go out there and see a couple of remnants of something and know that you were indeed in the right spot. That's what I would like to do. And there are probably dozens of them. Between camps and towns, there are dozens in this county that only a few people might know of a few of them, and and then other people might know them, not even realize what's going on. That they know a couple. They don't have any idea about what a pump house is or what it would anything. And they know where stuff is that could orient from an old town from there, maybe potentially, or small downtown region or something like that from a bit larger stop, and have no idea. Maybe they're trying to preserve it. I understand that, but I hope that one of these days I can come around, that I can stumble into the right person who has got something like that I could explore. It'd be nice to go back into some place like that that's basically totally unknown, as unknown as you can be, and have had somebody live there at one point. You know what I'm saying? So there's G-Town. One family is G-Town's like on 327 or something like that. One family owns most of that, and I can't get to them. Cannot contact them or anything else like that. And I know where they live, but they got a lot of scary signs that make me think that I might not walk back out, even if I'm just going in there to knock on the door and politely ask if I could get on their land. In a calm and absolutely peaceful fashion. I'm practically a Quaker over here, and but I don't know. See, that's another example. Can't blame them, but that's another example of how there's something out there in them woods that would definitely be out there still, but well posted, no trespassing. So between people who aren't letting you on, like the people of G-Town or Ansel Cross, and stuff like that. While I understand exactly why, and I support them 100% in their version of preservation, I would like to get some of this stuff on video before it just goes completely back to Mother Nature. So, if you've made it to this part of the video, you must not have much to do, and I do appreciate you choosing to have me as your background noise for this 24 minutes. If there's any other questions, go ahead and leave them wherever you see this video. I'll come around and look. Maybe next time I feel like doing one of these, I'll come out here and do it, and we'll get some of your questions in particular. But it's just been very general. I wanted to, go into how I came into this and everything, and how accidentally everything just kind of melded into one thing once I got, oh yeah, I'm driven by my hobbies. That's another thing. So I guess, yeah, a bunch of random knowledge melded together to become that. Once I got the right hobby, everything started to kind of click. So, anyway, if you would like to go on this little Safari, I guess, with me and get verified a verified learning experience by probably the only person alive at this point. Yeah, matter of fact, I guarantee it. The only person alive at this point in this area of the state that would know what was going on back there. The cost is free. Well, I mean, I guess it's gas money. Gotta get down there. It's in the county. It's not very far. It's literally between here and Oak Hill, and not far off the road either. We're minimal gas usage, minimal time getting there. Matter of fact, you'll get there before you'd get from where it's at. You would get to this place before you'd get to the city of Oak Hill, if you were going from here to Oak Hill. Yeah. Anyway, but it's free. I'm not trying to make any money. Just friends, networking opportunities. Maybe maybe you've got there's a lot of places out here that because they had some money, or they were able to get the wood and everything themselves and had the tools to make it. There are some really nice houses that were built and then just left, and things have started to reclaim it and everything, but there's still really nice houses. There's more than likely a way for me to find out who lived there, given enough time, and being able to figure this stuff out. There's all kinds of little things like this that I'd love to do, but it's a matter of you folks turning me on to some of this and everything. And that is part of the wonderful nature of this. I've had a few recommendations and everything from like Greg Shook, for example, who I mentioned extensively in another video I'll be uploading today. He knows everything from in the period that he's interested in. I think he would say, in fairness, in the period that he is interested in, around here you're not going to find anybody that is going to be able to compete with him. And I've met other people that have individual spots and stuff that they've told me about, and various things that have been interesting. So I've already benefited a lot just from people coming to me or being open to me coming to them. So if that mentions you, then let's do that. If you want to be on the video, that's fine. We can do that as well. I think that's basically it for right now. I've kind of given away some game here. There's as far as some techniques that maybe you wouldn't think of to apply, a little bit of history. So, there's some stuff like that. But really, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this here now. This is Ohio Company Towns heading out. There should be at least one more video coming your way. Actually, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do you that favor. Yeah. All right. Talk soon. Stay frosty.